All sorts of yeah, I think it's live.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think we begin.
Hello, Vanakkam, Vandanam. A very good evening to all of you listening, and not just in India, but all around the world. என் பேர் சாகித்யா ஹரி. நான் யூகேல இருந்து முக்தா 60க்காக இந்த ப்ரோக்ராமை ஹோஸ்ட் பண்றதுல எனக்கு ரொம்ப 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 பெருமையா இருக்கு. ஐம் அப்சல்யூட்லி ஆனர்ட் அண்ட் ஐம் thrilled to host the show along with Muktha 60. And I'm representing this as part of Slav Tamil Sangamam in UK. And it's such an honor and a pleasure to be here this evening with Adithya Modi. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Adithya. Adithya Modi is our chief guest or the special guest for today அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். இவங்களோட சேர்ந்து என்னோட ஆதி ஜாயின் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. ஆதி has joined us from Hyderabad today, and Adithya Modi நம்மளோட special speaker has joined us in the Muktha 60க்காக all the way from Dubai. சரி, இந்த Adithya Modi, before we get to know more about Adithya Modi, அவங்கள பத்தி கொஞ்சம் நான் சொல்றேன். இப்போ ஆதித்யா மோடி வந்து ஒரு ஆர்ட்ஸ் டிகிரி இன் ரெக்கார்டிங். He graduated with a recording arts degree from Full Sail University, and then he moved to Los Angeles, and he was a practicing DJ. So DJ-வா practice பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாரு. பட் அந்த DJ வேலையே வந்து it became a bit boring for him apparently. சரியா? And also it was home calling. So வீடு வாவா இருந்துச்சு. So home callingல என்ன பண்ணாரு, he moved to Mumbai, where he started assisting sound engineering legends. யாரு? Daman Sood. Can you believe it, audience? Daman Sood or அவங்களோட he was working along with Avinash Oak. And what happened there in Mumbai is he got trained extensively on analog recording techniques for large orchestras as well as singular vocals alike. And so when I say singular vocals, யாரோட work பண்ணிருக்காரு அப்படின்னா, he worked with Jagjit Singh, Lata Mangeshkar, Asha Bhosle, and you know these names are mega names in the industry, and it just doesn't stop there. He has supported Pandit Jasraj, Pankaj Udhas, Naushad Ali, Abida Parveen ma'am, and almost everyone one could think of in the Indian music industry. எனக்கு இந்த லிஸ்ட் படிக்கும் போதே it just gives me goosebumps and such great thrill, and I'm sure Adi also agrees with the thrill that we had. We still have, in fact. So then going on to from Mumbai, he moved back to Chennai, Namma Chennai, for his big break. So on the big break enna, it was an offer from Maestro A.R. Rahman himself. Okay. Having worked on almost every A.R. Rahman film and project between the years 2001 and 2010, he shares an excellent rapport with him. அதை பத்தி நம்ம நிறைய கேட்கணும். ஸோ இந்த பாயிண்ட்ஸ்ல இருந்து மக்களே நம்ம வந்து நிறைய கொஸ்டின்ஸ் எடுத்து வச்சுக்க போறோம் நம்ம. And not only does he has done projects, but he also manages his Mumbai operations, Rahman Saroda. Now there is lots more to tell about Adithya. Okay, நான் வந்து கொஞ்சம் ஒரு 2-3 questions கேட்டுட்டு then maybe get into உங்களுக்கு எல்லாம் hello சொல்லிட்டு then I will tell you about his recording and mastering facilities in Mumbai. Okay, to join along in this beautiful evening conversation, I have with me Adi. நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி ஹைதராபாத்ல இருந்து ஜாயின் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. ஹலோ ஆதி. ரெண்டு பேரும் சேர்ந்து ஒரு பெரிய வெல்கம் சொல்லலாமா ஆதித்யா சாருக்கு?
Yeah, welcome
Modi.
Thank you.
We are joined by
glad to be here.
sound engineering royalty today, and
absolutely, and I welcome Adi to set the pace, to set the tone. எப்படி வந்து என்ன ஒரு ஐகானிக் மூமெண்ட்ல எந்த மூவிஸ்ல எங்க இருந்திருக்காரு ஆதித்யா அப்படின்ட்டு ஆதி நம்மளுக்கு சொல்ல போறாங்க.
ஓகே, நீங்க லாஸ்ட் 20-30 இயர்ஸ்ல நீங்க தமிழ் சினிமாவில் எடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எந்த டயலாக் மோஸ்ட் ஐகானிக், நம்ம எல்லாரும் சொல்றது வீட்டில் எல்லாரும் சொல்லியிருக்கோம், ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் கிட்ட சொல்லி கலாச்சிருக்கோம், மீம் ஆயிருக்கு. So that iconic line comes from the film Nayagan. So what has that got to do with Mrs. Adithya Modi. Here is Adithya Modi was that kid who asked Kamal Hassan of all people, "Ninga nallavara kettavara?" So I want to begin with this question with Adithya Modi. Adithya ji, ninga nallavara kettavara?
எனக்கு தெரியாதுங்க. நீங்க தான் சொல்லணும். நீங்க எல்லாருமே சொல்லணும். இந்த செஷனை கேட்ட அப்புறம் ப்ளீஸ்.
Yeah, it's a surreal moment for me because I mean, Muktha, whoever has seen me, they all know that I'm a huge fan of Kamal Hassan sir, and then I can't believe that kid who asked him that question. I'm talking with him, so actually, I won't begin the question with that. I mean, that's so. The first film, was it the first film? And then, what are the memories of you shooting for Nayak? And do you have any recollection of being on set with Kamal sir and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it was my first feature film, but I did a lot of television commercial ads. I acted in a lot of television ads. Most of the ads back then that was being shot by PC Sriram and Jendra sir. They would take me as a default kid option if they found nobody else. So I was like a pick me up plan. They were good friends with my dad. அதனால அவங்க பண்ற ads எல்லாம் ஏதோ Enfield ad and then some Nippo battery, ஏதோ ஒரு 4-5 ads like that, Rasna I believe, and something like that. So அதெல்லாம் it was going on, and then again for Nayakan also it was just a default. It was not a plan. They couldn't find anybody. They called me, and I went. It's the court scene at the very end. Most of you should be knowing, and you know, I was not exposed to violence or gun shooting and everything before that day, and suddenly I go to this place and I'm asked to say a dialogue, and then I see Kamal Hassan being shot. Of course, it's a film, but I don't know. I was 5 years old, so to me it just looks like somebody was shot dead. So I started crying. My mother was there with me. I started crying. I said, "What's happening? I don't want to be here," and this and that. Then they had to explain to me the whole thing that, you know, this is just a shooting. Look, he's fine. Nothing's happened to him. Then I said, okay, no, to get back to shooting, I need some. I started calling the shots that time like a superstar. I want some chocolate. I want some ice cream. So they got me all that stuff, and finally coaxed me back into shooting. I did the shooting. It was good. At that point, when you're 5 years old, you don't have a concept of who Kamal sir is or anything. They're another person. So I didn't feel anything that day. I didn't know anything that day. Only maybe 3 or 4 years later, when people in my school used to say, "Neena, that kid, you are the kid." My teachers used to all praise me, and then it dawned upon me that, oh, I was part of an important scene. But for a few years, I didn't realize what the big fuss was all about, and definitely not when I was shooting. So it was like that. There was actually 2 more scenes shot, but it didn't make it to the final movie. There was a scene shot where, you know, I carry the ashes of Kamal in a pot, burning pot, and we walk around and stuff. But yeah, that stuff didn't make it to the movie. But yeah, it was a good day. It was shot in Anna University in Chennai.
Right.
Was it like a single take or something like that?
No. It was at least 15 takes.
Oh.
It was 15 takes, and the voice is not mine. It was dubbed by an artist. I said it there, but on the film it was.
What a start to your career. Do you think so? You know, perhaps that is what instilled that interest in you, or maybe that was destiny, you know, that you have to be there on the screen, your voice being dubbed, and then you becoming a sound engineer, and not just a sound engineer, but also being an architect for studios, you know, and having sung and being part of singing shows myself, I understand how important and so how valuable sound engineering can be, is on stage, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. So actually my dad was also a sound engineer, and my dad used to sound engineer for Mr. Rahman sir when Rahman sir used to do jingles. So we had a studio. It was above my home, and we used to so Rahman sir used to compose jingles in my dad's studio, and I was a little kid that time, and he would see me. AR sir would see me playing around with my dad in the studio and everything, and just this little fellow. So I think, what happened is, over the years I used to spend so much time in my dad's studio. It just kind of uh, got into me like that. So that was the whole start. So I owe it to him where I am.
I mean, you started with started on fire with the gunshot, right? And also today, actually, it's incidentally 62 years of Kamal Hassan today. They're celebrating that as
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
yeah. So, and that's an iconic moment again. So,
Thank
you said about growing up in the milieu of sound engineers and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, it naturally came to you. So,
Yeah.
was it such a easy transition like that always, where you did you want to do something else? So how did your parents look at it? அப்படியே நீ கண்டினியூ பண்ண அந்த மாதிரியா or you always had the freedom to do that?
No, I always did have the freedom. என்ன வேணா பண்ணலாம். He used to joke, நீ வேணா ரிக்ஷா டிரைவர் கூட ஆகலாம். Whatever it was you want to do, you do. I knew at the back of his mind he had some hopes from me, but he didn't push it onto me, and he said, yeah, do what you want. And I love music. I thought, sound engineering is such a blessing as a career, because you listen to music all day long and you get paid for listening to music. So who can complain?
Get the best of it, isn't it?
Yeah, you get paid for listening to music. That's ridiculous, right? People are going to
And you're sitting in this beautifully lit air conditioned room always, and
exactly
aesthetic, and you're meeting all great people every day.
Correct, and you get paid for that. So it's kind of an amazing mix of things. But having said that, it's not an easy climb. It's a struggle, because there's quite a bit of competition, and more so now, which is good. But it's not easy. It's not easy to be a sound engineer. You spend a lot of long nights away from your family. Your health may get affected, and it looks beautiful on the outside, but there are some lot of challenges.
Adithya, can I இந்த ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டில வந்து நான் தமிழ் அண்ட் இங்கிலீஷ்ல மாத்தி பேசுறேன் ஆடியன்ஸ் உங்களோட மோடி டிஜிட்டல் பத்தி கொஞ்சம் சொல்லவா? சோ ஆதித்யா வந்து 2 ரெக்கார்டிங் அண்ட் மாஸ்டரிங் அண்ட் மிக்சிங் ஃபெசிலிட்டிஸ் செட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. இது வந்து அவரோட ஓன் ரெக்கார்டிங் மிக்சிங் அண்ட் மாஸ்டரிங் ஃபெசிலிட்டிஸ். இது வந்து மும்பைல. அதுக்கு பேர் வந்து பிரீமியர் டிஜிட்டல் மாஸ்டரிங் ஸ்டுடியோஸ். அண்ட் இது வந்து எப்படின்னா இட் ரன்ஸ் அலாங் சைட் ப்ரோ ஆடியோ கன்சல்டன்சி அண்ட் டிஸ்ட்ரிபியூஷன் பிசினஸ். அந்த பிசினஸ் பேர் தான் மோடி டிஜிட்டல். இது வந்து ஆபீசஸ் வந்து எங்கெல்லாம் இருக்குன்னா மும்பை, சென்னை அண்ட் பெங்களூர்ல இருக்கு. அண்ட் ஆதித்யா வந்து என்னெல்லாம் பண்ணியிருக்காரு, எந்த மூவிஸ்ல ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காரு, ஒரு எந்த ஆர்டிஸ்டோட ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காரு, எந்த மாதிரி ஸ்டுடியோஸ் பில்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காருன்னு பார்த்தா மோர் தென் 250 250 ஸ்டுடியோஸ்க்கு மேல பண்ணியிருக்காரு அவர். அதுல எப்படின்னா அதுல டிசைனும் பண்ணியிருக்காரு, கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன், அதுல கன்சல்டேஷன் அண்ட் ஆல்சோ இன்ஸ்டலேஷன். என்னடா ரொம்ப டெக்னிக்கலா இருக்கே அப்படின்னு இப்ப வேணா உங்களுக்கு தெரியலாம். பட் இன்னும் போக போக நாங்க அந்த மூவிஸ் எப்படி, என்ன சாங்ஸ், யாரோட எல்லாம் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காரு அப்படின்னு பேசும்போது நீங்க வந்து கனெக்ட் பண்ண முடியும் அதோட வேல்யூவை. ஸோ லைக் ஐ செட் மோர் தென் 250 ஸ்டுடியோஸ். அதுல வந்து ஹோம் தியேட்டர்ஸ், சர்ச்சஸ், ஹோட்டல்ஸ், எஜுகேஷனல் இன்ஸ்டிடியூஷன்ஸ். ஸோ இது எல்லாத்துலயும் இந்தியால இருந்து மிடில் ஈஸ்ட் வரைக்கும் நிறைய ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. அப்புறம் என்ன சொல்லணும்னா மியூசிக்கல் ப்ரொடியூசராகவும் இருந்திருக்காரு ஆதித்யா. ஃபார் மோர் தென் 50 ஏஆர் ரெஹ்மான் லைவ் ஷோஸ், 50க்கும் மேற்பட்ட ஏஆர் ரெஹ்மான் லைவ் ஷோஸ் அண்ட் தியேட்டர் ப்ரொடக்ஷன்ஸ்க்கு ரொம்ப வருஷமா அவர் வந்து மியூசிக் ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. ஆதித்யா சார், ஆதிக்கும் எனக்கும் ஆடியன்ஸ்க்கும் நீங்க அதையும் கொஞ்சம் ஷேர் பண்ணிக்கணும் அப்படின்னு கேட்டுக்கிறேன் இப்பவே. அண்ட் டெக்னிக்கல் ரைட்டரா இருந்திருக்காரு வேரியஸ் பப்ளிகேஷன்ஸ் அண்ட் செமினார்ஸ்ல. அண்ட் இதை தவிர்த்து எஜுகேஷனல் இன்ஸ்டிடியூஷன்ஸ்லயும் அவர் வந்து மியூசிக் அண்ட் ஆடியோ பத்தி நிறைய ஷேர் பண்ணுவாரு, ஸ்பீச்சஸ் கொடுப்பாரு. இவ்வளோ வேரிடா அவர் வந்து சவுண்ட் அண்ட் டெக்னாலஜி மியூசிக்ல வந்து பேக்ரவுண்ட்ல அவ்வளோ பண்ணியிருக்காரு அப்படின்னு ஆடியன்ஸ்க்கு சொல்ல விரும்புறேன் நான். ரொம்ப ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா இருக்கு ஆதித்யா சார் உங்களோட அந்த ஒரு கரியர் அண்ட் தி ஸ்பான். எப்படி வந்து நீங்க ஆதி சொன்ன மாதிரி நாட் ஜஸ்ட் மியூசிக் சவுண்ட் டெக்னாலஜி அப்படின்னு மாத்திரம் இல்லாம அதை வந்து ஆர்கிடெக்சர் அண்ட் ப்ரிப்பேரிங் அந்த செட்டப்லயும் நீங்க அவ்வளவு பண்ணிருக்கீங்க. அதுல உங்களோட பெஸ்ட் ஏதாச்சும் எங்களோட ஷேர் பண்ணுங்களேன். பெஸ்ட் 1 or 2, even 3. எப்படி வந்து அது நாங்க எந்த மூவிஸ்ல பார்த்திருக்கோம், எந்த சாங்ஸ்ல பார்த்திருக்கோம் அப்படின்னு உங்களால ரிலேட் பண்ணி சொல்ல முடியுமா?
ஸோ நான் மோஸ்டா சவுண்ட் இன்ஜினியரிங் வந்து மெட்ராஸ்ல வந்து ரஹ்மான் சாருக்கு தான் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். அஃப்கோர்ஸ் சில சில ஷோஸ் எல்லாம் அனிருத்துக்கு பண்ணியிருக்கேன் அண்ட் மீதி சம் மியூசிஷியன்ஸுக்கு பண்ணியிருக்கேன். பட் 99% ஆஃப் மை சவுண்ட் இன்ஜினியரிங் ஒர்க் ஹேஸ் பீன் வித் ரஹ்மான் சார். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நான் முதல்ல 2001 எண்டிங்கில் வந்தேன்னு நினைக்கிறேன் சாரோட, ரஹ்மான் சாரோட. அப்போ பரசுராம் போயிட்டு இருந்தது. ஸோ தட் வாஸ் அதான் என்னோட ஃபர்ஸ்ட் மூவி இன் விச் ஐ ஹேட் சம் கிரெடிட் as an assistant sound engineer. அதுக்கப்புறம் ஐ திங்க் பாய்ஸ் படம்ல என்னோட கிரெடிட்ஸ் வந்திருக்கு. அப்போ வந்து 3 சவுண்ட் இன்ஜினியர் இருப்பாங்க சார் ஸ்டுடியோல, சிவகுமார், எச் ஸ்ரீதர் அண்ட் மீ. ஒரு 10 வருஷத்துக்கு நம்ம 3 பேர் தான். ஸோ மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் த திங்ஸ் எல்லாம் நம்ம 3 பேருக்குள்ள முடிச்சிடுவோம். அப்போலேருந்து குவைட் அ ஃபியூ ஃபிலிம்ஸ், குரு, ரங்கதே பசந்தி.
So like all these are all time great soundtracks, right? Like,
yeah.
Just listing out the names, it's like I'm just
Water and Jodha Akbar and Slumdog Millionaire. Quite a few அப்படி ஃபிலிம்ஸ்ல வேலை பண்ணியிருக்கேன். சாரோட நிறைய அவர் ஃபாரின்ல ஆண்ட்ரூ லாய்ட் வெப்பர் எல்லாம் கூட மியூசிக்கல்ஸ் பண்ணுவார். பாம்பே ட்ரீம்ஸ், லார்ட் ஆஃப் தி ரிங்ஸ் அப்படின்னு. ஸோ ஐ வுட் கோ வித் ஹிம் டு கேனடா, லண்டன் and work on many months on these projects along with him. So the best parts was to be able to travel and live with him in so many countries. When we would go to Prague, we would go to London and do a lot of recordings there. So I think those were exciting. Of course, we had a lot of live tours with him, world tours. We used to travel a lot for that.
So you had spent some time as a DJ, I read about it. So why was that? And then how has that influenced the way you engineer work? Because the world started becoming more going towards EDM and stuff like that. Did that help over there, or was there any influence?
No, so I'll tell you what happened. So immediately after I finished my sound engineering degree in Florida, I was like completely bankrupt. I had no money with me, and my dad said, "Figure out, start working, do something." So there was some friends of mine who was with me at the university, and they said, "Come, we're going to LA. You want to join us? We're going to become DJs there." I said, "Okay." I was 16 years old, something like that, 17. So I said, "Okay, let's go, whatever it is." And that time, you don't fear anything. You're just like, you're so young, it doesn't matter. Life has not yet hit you. So I moved with them, with my friends to LA, and they said they started DJing, and I started DJing along with them. Basically, my first few days was not even DJing. It was just to carry the speakers and carry all those boxes and put it and connect it and everything. And then slowly what used to happen is they'll do about 2 hours of the main set. And then when people are, very happy and they don't care about the music anymore, I'll take on and then relieve the main DJ of his work. So he's chilling. This is how it started. And it was good money back then. In LA, they used to pay a lot in dollars. And so, when you're 17 years old, for one night of working 4-5 hours, you're getting $400-500. So it kept me happy then, but it was very short-lived. It was really gruesome work because every night stay up till the morning, and it's quite a thing. I couldn't deal with it for too long.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Adithya. Thank you so much.
The boys. Yeah.
Go on, Adi.
I mean, so you started with boys right after Parasuram. So, boys, as I told you before, is a very fascinating an album. It had different songs, right? You had something like a Boom Boom and the Mario song, and then you had like Maro Maro, which is like open stadium, and then you had like a rock song at the end, and all sorts of music. So, how was the recording experience? And Is there any difference the way you record like a stadium song in the many different music?
Yeah, of course. Every song is unique, and to get that kind of largeness for Maro Maro, it was not easy. We had to call quite a few, large orchestra, try and record them and layer them, and yeah, to achieve a specific sound that is in the director's vision. Both the cinema director and the music director, they have the vision, and we try as sound engineer and sound designers, we try our best to achieve that. It takes some trial and error. We try different techniques, and that time still internet was nascent. It wasn't as big as it is now. It was there, but it wasn't. You couldn't just Google one video and say, "Oh, this is how it was done." So it started coming. All that started coming later, but yeah, by our own efforts and listening to how it works, we got there eventually.
Okay,
But I think a lot of my uh, respect and credit goes to HC Dasar, because he's been my teacher for everything. He's
okay.
no more, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Aditya. And can you share your experiences, உங்களோட experiences working with stalwarts like Lata Mangeshkar and Asha Bhonsle and in fact Abida Parveen ma'am?
Yeah. So with Abida Parvinji, it was magical. So I was in Bombay. I used to work in a studio called Western Outdoor there. This was before I joined Raman sir. And Abida Parvinji came down, and we were to record, I think it was 8 albums of hers, 8 albums, complete albums. And in my mind, I have never seen this kind of magic before that day, or in fact, after that day also, I've never seen it. We
Oh.
recorded 8 albums in 8 days.
Wow. Oh my
Each
God.
day was one album. The entire album was one take. She would
Wow,
just sit, start, finish, the album is over. 8
brilliant.
days, we finished 8 albums ready for release. And it's unheard of. Otherwise, with most people that I work with, an album takes up to a year, one album
Yeah.
of work. But that was something in a different level. She's so gifted. She's so blessed, and it was such a blessing to be in that experience, that place, to see that happening. 3 hours, she would just do non-stop, one single take. The whole album was done.
Wow,
Each
what
day.
an experience. And
That
especially
was-
when you say, Aditya, that ஒரு ஆல்பம் ஒரு நாள் and ஒரு ஆல்பம்
ஒரு நாள்.
ஒரு வருஷம்
One take.
ரெண்டுக்கும்
Yeah.
எவ்வளோ
Yeah, absolutely.
வித்தியாசம்.
See, all the cine albums we do takes minimum 1 year, 8 months minimum, 1 year, sometimes more also.
ஒரு audience question இருக்கு actually. People have asked in the group about this. They were asking about how the older artists முன்னாடி இருக்கிறவங்க வந்து they used to take single takes and they used to record everybody together அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு system இருந்தது இல்லையா? Then it
ஆமா.
became like different people from different
Different.
places, and then you also take multiple takes and tracks and like. So what are your thoughts on that? Are we like ரொம்ப harping on the old அந்த மாதிரியா? It works as long as it sounds good அப்படி? Because now you said about Abhida Parveen, right? Like she was able to just do it like that.
See, the process doesn't matter. And the process in the past was correct. The process today is correct. The process is different. At the end of the day, you get to listen to one song. How we arrived there doesn't matter. You should either enjoy the song or not enjoy it. That's all. இப்போ அதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணீங்க, ஏன் பண்ணீங்க, எப்படி பண்ணீங்க, that and all is now when you buy one car, you don't go to the factory and say, oh, this they put the door like this, they use this robot to put the door. You don't care, right? The
Yeah.
car is ready, it's there for you, you're enjoying the car, that's all. அப்படிதான். So the process should not be such a debate. I think, it can be an educational debate, but not something to divide people or divide thoughts. So
Yeah. I think end result matters more than.
yeah, exactly.
I think audience should not be worried about the process at all. If you're a listener.
No, they can know it for education, but not make it a issue.
Correct.
What I have seen is some people make it an issue. So
Yeah.
எனக்கு என்ன பிடிச்சிருக்குன்னா ஆதித்யா சார், நீங்க உங்களோட very mature and very balanced answer on this particular question.
Yeah.
Actually, I like the way you said, how we arrive doesn't actually matter, but let's enjoy the song, let's enjoy the music and the end product of it. Look at the bigger picture. Thanks for that. That viewpoint.
Yeah.
And H. Sridhar sir, pati சொன்னீங்க இல்லையா, he's obviously a big legend. So probably the greatest sound engineer from our lands. So I mean, all his soundtracks are so iconic. So what was the experience working with him? Is it like, does he teach you, or is it always like on the job, you just watch him and learn?
So let me tell you, I mean, he's by far he's unbelievable. I can't do what he does. I have never seen any sound engineer doing what he does. So as he was teaching me, or whoever was around him, he would literally speak aloud the steps that he is doing. While doing it, he's speaking the steps aloud so that the people around are learning it. It is, first of all, so difficult, when you're working, whatever work you guys do, there are steps to it. Like for you, you're marketing and she's a doctor. You're not going to say, oh, now I'm going to analyze the brain or analyze this, or I'm going to do this, or you're just going to do the job. That's all. You know the job by heart, you will do it. Right? You're not going to speak each step, but seriously, you have to speak the step. Okay, I'm putting this EQ, I'm going to cut out this EQ just because it will make this difference. Now listen to the difference. See how it sounds? Wow, okay, now let's go. And this way he would do for every song, everything throughout, full day. It is so tiring and so giving to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And it's a different level. I cannot even imagine anybody doing it. I can't do it. It's so hats off and great respect to him wherever he is.
What's your favorite soundtrack of Sridhar sir? I know it's like a typical question, but yeah, but we do this. It's controversial, but yeah, but I think
it's not controversial. There are too many questions. There are too many options. I would say Water and Tirada Tirada.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Water and Tirada Tirada. Any particular songs?
No, the whole albums.
Full album. Okay.
Tirada Tirada is, yeah, probably the greatest album, man.
Chandralekha.
For me at least, like I've never, அந்த சவுண்ட் இன்னி வரைக்கும் நான் எங்கேயுமே நான் கேட்கல.
வராது.
அது எப்படி பண்ணாங்க எனக்கு தெரியல. And it's such a beautiful sync of ஒரு legendary music director and also a legendary sound engineer coming together, and a legendary director also. So
absolutely right. You're right.
Yeah, and this shows the amount of work that goes behind in the background to make the audience listen to such songs. என்ன ஒரு செட்டப், என்ன ஒரு பிரம்மாண்டம் behind the scene இல்லையா?
Absolutely.
Not just music director மட்டும் இல்ல, அவங்களோட அந்த டீம், அந்த ஒரு டீம்.
That is very important. That's very important.
That leads me, அது வந்து next question. இப்போ இருக்கிற உங்க டீம், இப்போ இருக்கிற உங்க ப்ராஜெக்ட் என்ன அப்படின்னு ஷேர் பண்றீங்களா?
So actually, Rahman sir would have sound engineering பண்ணி ரொம்ப நாள் ஆச்சு. I have moved on from sound engineering as such. Just I took a decision. I will do very select projects. I'm not going to be a sound engineer for very long periods of time. I'll pick up some select projects and do it because there are many things: health, family. It all needs to work together. So. What I do today is I design studios. I design complete turnkey studios. So if anybody wants whatever kind of studio they want, we design it for them, from the acoustics, the interiors, the whole furniture, the equipment, the whole vibe, the lighting, the AC, everything. So I know sound. I got into designing studios. I kind of fused those two things together. I worked extensively in studios, so I know what should be expected of a studio. And இப்போ வந்து நான் நிறைய ஸ்டுடியோஸ் டிசைன் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். சாருக்கும் பாம்பேல இப்போ ஒரு பெரிய செட்டப் போட்டுட்டு இருக்கேன், துபாயில ஒரு பெரிய ஸ்டுடியோ போட்டுட்டு இருக்கேன், டிசைன் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். And so that is very exciting. And fulfilling kind of thing. We create a lot of studios, make sure it's good for everybody, and that's what I do today. But in between, I get some projects to work on for as a sound engineer.
Okay, thank you so much,
So,
Aditya.
you mentioned water, the soundtrack,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there is a question from the audience on that. Actually, I'm just relating it. The waterல வந்து that there's a song called Ayore, that right?
Yeah.
It's an amazing song. So
Yeah.
அதுல வந்து you have the sounds of rain and thunder and all those things that's happening.
Yeah.
So audience வந்து somebody has asked, do you really for natural sounds, like do you record those natural sounds and try to fit it in, or it's like do you produce it? That's a question they asked.
No. So interestingly, what we do on music albums is, see, if it is a movie, no, those sound effects are recorded. Okay, there somebody has taken a microphone to the thunder, to the rain, or whatever. But for music, we recreate a thunder sound with musical instrument. We create the water sound with musical instrument. So Sivmani sir is great at doing all these things. He is fantastic. He can pull out any natural effects sound, whatever it may be, but through the musical instruments that he has, all the percussion instruments. He has things that will make the thunder. He has things that will make the rain, and we use that. So it's it's an effect, but it's at the same time musical. So since it's a song, it needs to relate to that and gets combined. So that's what we do for music.
Wow, thank you. So அடுத்த வாட்டி நாங்க வாட்டர் ஆல்பம் கேட்கும்போது இது எல்லாத்தையும் நாங்க வந்து we will be a bit more mindful. அடுத்த வாட்டி நாங்க வாட்டர் ஆல்பம் கேட்கும்போது.
But as I said, just enjoy the song.
Yes.
I never thought Sivamani sir was behind the rain and thunder.
Yes, many times.
Yeah, these
Thunder
are
and
things you
rain.
don't get to hear outside.
Thunder, rain, bird, cycle, bell, all that is Sivamani sir.
Oh, okay. So nice. ரொம்ப very interesting. Thanks.
மீனாட்சியில அந்த சைக்கிள் ரிதம் என்ன ஒரு பாட்டு இருக்கலாம்.
Yeah.
Cyclist rhythm. So that he actually went to the road, found a cycle bell for somebody who was riding, took that and did tingling, tingling.
Ingenious. Amazing.
Nice. அப்புறம் நீங்க இன்னும் இந்த கோவிட் டைம்ஸ்ல ரெக்கார்டிங் மியூசிஷியன்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து they were really affected. போயிட்டு ஒரு ரெக்கார்டிங் ஸ்டுடியோல போக முடியாது. எப்படி என்ன பண்ணீங்க டியூரிங் திஸ் கோவிட் டைம்ஸ்? என்ன டிஃபரன்ஸ் பாத்திருக்கீங்க உங்களோட சவுண்ட் ரெக்கார்டிங்லயோ இன்ஜினியரிங்லயோ? என்ன டிஃபரன்ஸ் பாத்தீங்க? அதுலயே கொஸ்டின் பி ஒன்னு இருக்கு. வாட் டிஃபரன்ஸ் ஹஸ் திஸ் மேட்? நிறைய பேர் இப்ப வந்து சவுண்ட் ஸ்டுடியோ வேணும் அப்படின்னு அப்ரோச் பண்றாங்களா? ஹஸ் இட் மேட் எனி டிஃபரன்ஸ் அட் ஆல், அண்ட் இன் வாட் வே?
Yeah. So COVID is, I would definitely not say it's a blessing. It's terrible that it has happened to anybody. But what has happened as an outcome is people have now, as you know, now anyone can work from anywhere. That's it. Now the whole world has become even more smaller than what it used to be before COVID. It was already getting small thanks to internet and everything. But now people got so reliant on just being at their homes and being able to do almost all the professions that we are able to do. Okay. Same thing happened with music. People start setting up, all the musicians, all the singers started setting up studios at their home. Small studios, but they started setting up at their home. And then now with the internet, they would just record, the tracks would come from somewhere, they would put their sound voice and it would go back, and that's it. Now suddenly nobody had to leave their homes, but still the music was getting done. The quality was definitely a bit impacted because making a studio in the house is not exactly cheap, and if you're not making it the right way, then it's not going to sound right. So that was a compromise, but people learn to live with that, try to figure that out with help of some tools and plugins and make it sound better, and it worked. So, but yes, people did lose out work, especially the live industry is being severely impacted. There's hardly any live shows, so that has impacted a whole you can't do live concert from home. It's really it's just not the right thing. I know people have tried it, but it doesn't sound right. So that has got affected. But the recording industry is kind of still happening. It happened through the pandemic from people's homes.
Okay. Okay.
And a new way of working. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and for me, I got to make many more studios because of that.
And in the interview, we're doing like that, right? We've all gone remote and we are
Exactly.
using
You're
Zoom.
in Hyderabad, you're in London, I'm in Dubai,
Yeah.
Maya's in India.
Yeah.
And that is why I was quite intrigued. எப்படி வந்து இப்ப சாங்ஸ் எல்லாம் வருது, திருப்பியும் மூவிஸ் எல்லாரும் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க, சவுண்ட் ரெக்கார்டிங் நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு, அது எப்படி அப்படின்னு இருக்கிறதுக்காக தான் அது கேட்டது.
அதான் எல்லாமே இப்போ it's changed. The whole world has become work from anywhere kind of scenario. So it's happening.
Yeah. And we can't go past without asking about Slumdog Millionaire, right? The Oscar-winning soundtrack. And you worked on it. And first of all, I mean, I want to congratulate. I mean, it's very late, but still, I want our direct crew member on I'm congratulating. So we're all amazing for that. And so I wanted your thoughts on Slumdog Millionaire. Did you really think it was going to be like that, or and then also specifically, I want to understand on the OSIA the train thing, right? Which you guys did. How did you achieve that? Because I've always been fascinated by the sound of trains. And because my dad plays Mirdangam, the train la pogumbodhu he used to say Jadi. So on the train for a certain so I couldn't believe that like the master made a song like that. So experience of Slumdog and Osaya.
So Slumdog, of course. So I worked on this Latika's theme
Wow.
So that was actually during Slumdog. Also, this kind of remote recording was happening. AR sir was in LA, I was in Bombay, and he would just give me some instructions and some melody sort of signature notes on recording. And I would call the singer to my studio. And then we would collaborate on Skype with, that time Skype was the thing. So AR sir will be on Skype on the other end, I'll be here, and we're trying to collaborate and make a song happen. So Osaya was a song that came out of that collaboration in my studio in Bombay. And yeah, it was good fun to work on Slumdog, I think. But and of course, never imagined it would become so big and the magnanimous that it is today. But surprisingly and happily for everybody, all of us here, it kind of, when I travel and everything, and some people may not still know who is AR Service, but the moment I say, Slumdog, they all say yes, I know, So that's put us on a map, put us on a world map. Your second question, actually, that's a question that has to be rooted to this gentleman called Deepak PA, who also won the Grammy for his music work on Slumdog. He, I think, was the magic behind some of the songs in some of the sounds that you mentioned, the train sound. So that's not me. I have nothing to do with it. You should speak to Deepak PA someday and he'll let you know.
Even Latika's theme is so beautiful, so haunting. So how was it recording that voice? Because that's not exactly a song per se, it's like a vocal theme.
Yeah.
And Urmari
we just recorded. So AR sir gave a very generic direction, and keeping that direction in mind, the singer Susan, myself, we just went for it. Like, took a lot of takes, then try to comp it down to something that we like. Send many versions to AR sir for his approval. He further comped it. But yeah, it was difficult because it was so vague. We didn't have a hard tempo to it, and but it was fun. Came out to be a good song.
You're the master of underplay, man. That's
I know.
That's an Oscar soundtrack, and you're just talking அப்படியே அமிச்சிட்டோம், அப்படி போயிடுச்சு, ஏதோ ஹிட் ஆயிடுச்சு.
இல்ல, எவ்வளவு ஒரு ஹம்பிளா, எவ்வளவு ஒரு காமான.
Is it a common theme with people who work with AR? Do you all become like him? Like, what's that?
This is what my wife says. You just behave like him, and I don't know.
He's also like that. Now, interview I did that. I mean, not much to say on that. I was like, oh my god, don't say like that. So
இல்ல ஆக்சுவலி பேக் தென் இல்ல இந்த ஏஆர்ஆர் யாஹூ குரூப்ஸ்னு ஒன்று இருக்கும், ஒரு குரூப்ஸ் ஃபேன் குரூப் மாதிரி இருக்கும். அவங்க டெய்லி இமெயில்ஸ்ல நிறைய இமெயில்ஸ் வரும், 2001-2 அப்படி. And everybody will be discussing about hey, this sound, how did it come, this reverb, how they put, this delay, how they put in the 3 minutes 4 secondsல அந்த ஃப்ளூட்ல இந்த ரிவர்ப் போட்டிருப்பாங்களோ அவங்களே சொல்லுவாங்க ஃபேன்ஸ். அப்போதான் நானும் சீதா சார் படிச்சு இதெல்லாம் நம்ம பண்ணோமான்னு கேட்போம்.
Oh, what a fan following.
I think Sahitya, you will also know this, right? When you're like a performer and singing, so when you got on stage and all that, when you start performing, you just lose out, right? You will not really remember anything after the performance. You'll be like, "Na partner." I think it happens with if you're so involved with stuff. I think it just flies away, I guess. Like, don't you find it fascinating, Aditya? Like the soundtracks, all that you have mentioned, it's like the who's who of Indian soundtracks, right? So
yeah.
So do you find it fascinating yourself that, and you're so young also? So
Thanks for that. I'll take it as a compliment.
So how has been that? How fascinating has it been for you? I mean, then you look back.
No, it's definitely life. My life has been very satisfying due to being involved with music. I think it's soulfulfilling to be involved in music. I can't put it in a different way. I can't explain further, but you know what I mean. You all love music, and music is a common language across the world. Pretty much anybody loves music. So,
and music has that capacity to keep us young and youthful. Ilya?
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, sir, pata ipo.
Yeah, he looks like he's 30, 31, just out of Berkeley. He looks like he's just out of Berkeley College or something like that.
டைம்லெஸ்ஸா இருக்கு, அப்படியே ஸ்டாப் ஆன மாதிரி இருக்கு. ஆக்சுவலி எனக்கு வந்து ஆடியன்ஸ் சார்பா இன்னும் 2 கொஸ்டின்ஸ் இருக்கு. அண்ட் எனக்கு என்னோடது ஒண்ணு, ஆடியன்ஸ் ஒண்ணு. உங்களை பத்தி, ஆர் யூ அ ட்ரெயின்ட் கர்நாடிக் சிங்கர்? உங்களுக்கு ஒரு ட்ரெயின் பேக்ரவுண்ட் இருக்கா? உங்களுக்கு எப்படி இயர் ஃபார் மியூசிக்? அது ஒண்ணு. அப்புறம் வாட் மியூசிக் டு யூ லிசன் டு, ஆர் உங்களுக்குன்ட்டு ஃபேவரட் மியூசிக் இருக்கா?
I'm not trained. I'm not. So while I was working with AR sir, I used to go to keyboard lessons. That was my only training. Otherwise, I'm not really a trained musician. Whatever I have is just by ear. The second question, what music do I listen to most? I always lean somehow my comfort zone. Of course, I listen to absolutely every kind of music. I love electronic music, I love hip hop, I love Indian music. But my comfort zone, like if I'm feeling really down or really bored, okay, I'll go back to something now that's Western classical music. So that's where I would always fall back to for long periods of time, Western classical.
Actually, adding on to her question, so for a sound engineer, does he need to be musically sound? You know what I mean? Do they need to be like on the trained ear venuma, or can it just be done technically, or how does that?
No, it's definitely advantageous to know music, to be musically sound. It is it gives a far bigger edge to an engineer with music knowledge than to one without. It's not impossible, but it's better to know.
Okay. And have you gone for some training now or anything like that later on in your life, in your career, or is it all working with H3 the sir and such stalwarts? அதுதான் உங்களோட?
I haven't. No, unfortunately, I haven't learned music yet.
Working with AR, sir, right? Like, so I'm fascinated. நான் சாகித்யா கூட சொல்லியிருந்தேன், like how is he able to stay ahead of the pack even after like 30 years? Like he started in 92, and the sound day people are still trying to recreate. Like I heard one of the interviews which talks about how people are still trying to match that kind of sound. So how is he able to stay ahead of competition per se? I know that he doesn't look at anything as competition, but how is he like that? And second part of him is, Only he is so soft and beautiful and gentle and all that. But all of this requires hard work, and then you have to be a taskmaster to get work from your engineer. So you have to be a கொஞ்சம் harsh inside the studio, which the face which we never see about him. So how's he like this calm storm, or what? How does that work? So, yeah.
Your first question was about how he's staying ahead of the curve. Everybody is born with their own gift. Even you, me, everyone. So that is what we have. That's what we come with. That's what we go. And that's what he has, I think. He has it within him. How, I don't know, but it's there. Must be intervention from somewhere else, if you want to call it that way. And technically, he is always experimenting with the latest gadgets, which are not even released in the market. He almost knows what's going to come, next year or so, technology, and he somehow manages to even get it, either buy it or somebody shares it or whatever it is. And he is able to play with this technology so advanced than the rest, and that is also a tool to aid with what is within him and to bring it out. So I think the combination of what is within and usage of these tools, which are still next gen, kind of fuses together and keeps surprising all of us each time. The second thing is there are times with anybody. He's human, you're human, I'm human. We all face pressures, and under pressures we all kind of give in to the pressure a bit. So there are those moments, but that's just part of being human. Otherwise, he's just simply a great person to work with, and he's just as kind and gentle and all this. This is 99% of the time he's like that. 1% sometimes pressure comes from the director, this, that. It's okay. All of us get upset at somebody or the other. It's nothing unique to anyone. So.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I mean, very well said. We are all human, end of the day. Yeah, we are all human, and humans do err, and we learn to live, we forgive, we manage, we adapt, and we move on. Ilya, and we learn. Absolutely. ரொம்ப அழகா எங்களுக்காக இவ்ளோ questions நீங்க ஆன்சர் பண்ணி பொறுமையா, ஹம்பிளா, மெச்சூரா, அப்படியே ஏஆர் ரெஹ்மான் சாரோட ஸ்டைல்ல, கொஞ்சம் ஆதி சொன்ன மாதிரி அந்த ஸ்டைல்ல வந்து ரொம்ப ரொம்ப அழகா ஆன்சர் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க. இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியை வந்து ஃபினிஷ் பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒன் லாஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின். ஆஸ் Adi Vandu, he is a marketing professional himself, and he has an AI startup and all that, and our enthusiast. Avarku nariya questions irukku. As a musician, engalku nariya questions irukku. As a singer, as audience, as lovers of music, nariya questions irukku. But sadly, we are coming to the end of the show. One last question about your family. Unga family patti konjam solunga.
Thank you for asking. So, my mother and father, my dad, as I said, he's always been into audio. He has been a sound engineer. He's also built studios for himself, for other people, and that's been his career. He's retired from the company, but active life. But he does. He's an audio enthusiast and hi-fi specialist. He still plays around with a lot of audio equipment and keeps tinkering and tankering. They live in Bangalore. My folks live in Bangalore. I have a brother who's moving to Sweden shortly. He's got a job there. He's a designer. And I live with my family in Chennai. That's my wife and my 5-year-old daughter. So Sonanda and Shambhavi. I'm missing them right now because I've been in Dubai for a bit and I'm going to be here for some more. So they're there. But yeah, otherwise, wife, daughter, and myself live in Chennai.
Sunanda and Shambhavik இந்த மெசேஜ் ஷுவரா போகும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அண்ட் எங்களோட எல்லாரும் சார்பாக, ஆடியன்ஸ் சார்பாக, முக்தா 60, மாயா மேம் அவங்களோட டீம் சார்பாக, ஆதி என்னோட சார்பாக ரொம்ப 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 நான் வந்து மனமார்ந்த நன்றி தெரிவிச்சு கொள்றேன். இந்த ஒரு டைம் எங்களுக்காக நீங்க ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணி எங்களுக்காக பேஷண்டா ஆன்சர் பண்ணது. பிளஸ் எங்களுக்கு என்ன ஒரு த்ரில்லுன்னா, such a sound technical person, எவ்வளோ ஒரு பிரில்லியன்ட் டெக்னீஷியன் எங்களோட வந்து இப்ப சேர்ந்து உங்களோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்சஸ் ஏஆர் ரஹ்மான் சாரோட அவ்வளோ ஒர்க் பண்ணி, நாட் ஜஸ்ட் அவர், சோ மெனி அதர் பீப்புள் அவங்களோட ஒர்க் பண்ண ஒருத்தர் ஸ்பெஷலா வந்து எங்களோட கலந்துருக்காங்கன்னா அது எங்களுக்கும் பெருமை. ரொம்ப 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 தேங்க்யூ. உங்களோட கெரியர் மேலும் மேலும் பிரில்லியண்டா இருக்கணும் இன் வாட் எவர் யூ சூஸ். சவுண்ட் இன்ஜினியரிங்ல இருந்து இப்போ நீங்க வந்து மாறி டிசைனிங் போயிருக்கீங்க. பட் வி விஷ் யூ ஆல் தி வெரி பெஸ்ட் இன் வாட் எவர் யூ ஆர் கோயிங் டு டூ. உங்களோட நிறைய சாங்ஸ் இன்னும் கேட்கணும், ஆல்பம்ஸ் கேட்கணும் அப்படின்ட்டு என்னோட மனமார்ந்த நன்றி தெரிவிச்சுக்கொள்றேன். ஸ்லவ் தமிழ் சங்கம் சார்பாக நான் இதுல ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்றேன். என்னோட பேர் சாகித்யா ஹரி. ஆதி, முக்தா ஃபிலிம்ஸ் 60 எல்லாரும் சார்பாக ரொம்ப ரொம்ப நன்றி ஆதித்யா.
Thank you, Saitya. Thank you, Maya ma'am. Thank you, Adi. Thank you, audience. And it was wonderful. Thanks for everything. Rombo nandri.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.